Even men at the top of their game find themselves wanting more from life. Whether it's more meaning, unshakable confidence, a bigger impact, more money, deeper love, a hotter sex life, or a powerful legacy. Find out how good your life can be on this episode of Man Alive. Also, as I've supported men in their love and work lives for 15 years now, many men ask for the right words to say to be more successful, attractive, and desirable. But I found it's not so simple as giving scripts or lines because every man is different. So giving words or scripts would be like giving a tall, thin man a shorter, wider man's pants, or vice versa. The words have to make sense for you and your personality, and there's so much happening beneath the surface that people are responding to. If you're interested in how to become a better lover and leader in your own unique way, go to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz, or you can text ALIVE to 44144. It only takes a couple minutes and you'll start to get an idea of how you can be both more respected and desired. After you fill it out, we can schedule a time to review your quiz and talk about your specific challenges and desires. So again, go to either shanajamescoaching.com/quiz or text ALIVE to 44144. That's ALIVE to 44144. Enjoy this episode of Man Alive. All right, hello, and welcome to this episode of Man Alive. I'm your host, Shana James, and I am so happy to be here with Seth Green. Seth, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be Man Alive today.
You are Man Alive today. Well, we are going to talk about success because Seth has had a lot of it. And I always feel excited to bring, the different aspects of life, from relationship to sex, to health, to success, and support men to really see, like, okay, if they want to be, if you listening want to be more successful, what does it take? How can you orient yourself? What are some of the practices, right, that you can take on? So Seth is here to talk about that with us today. And before we dive in, I'm just going to give a quick bio for those of you who don't know Seth Green. He's a nationally recognized direct response marketing expert. He's the author of 8 best-selling marketing books. His book, do you have him right there? I love it. His book, Market Domination for Podcasting, hit Barnes & Noble in 2017. He's also the only person in history that Dan Kennedy has nominated for Marketer of the Year 3 years in a row. And he's been featured on real media like CBS Money Watch, CBS News, Inc. Magazine, the LA Times, the Boston Globe, the Miami Herald. We could go on and on. You've been on stage with Steve Forbes, with John Mackey of Whole Foods, Dan Kennedy, many other luminaries. You've done a lot. You've worked with Fortune 500 companies. Your marketing firm, Market Domination LLC, helps customers appear for their business like magic. So awesome. You've got quite a lot under your belt.
Well, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that intro. You can follow me everywhere.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know, what's the first thing you want to say about success and how men can either have more of it or something about your own journey, to the success you've had?
Spent half an hour on my journey. So, I mean, there's a 2-minute version, an 8-minute version, a 30-minute version.
Let's do like the 2 to 8 minute version.
2 to 8 minutes. All right. So somewhere in between I've got. All right. Let's see if I can pull this off. I'm looking at my clock. Okay. So I went to Syracuse University for undergrad for musical theater. I wanted to be a Broadway.
You went to Syracuse. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh, that's interesting.
We were probably there at the exact same time.
We were, yeah.
Okay. All right, so undergrad for musical theater, wanted to be a Broadway star. By the time I graduated, my dad had given me such a hard time every semester about the tuition bill that I became a college financial planner to help other students and their families not have to endure the stress that I went through.
Wow.
Branch manager of the Fortune 500 financial planning company I got a job for gave me a book where he said all my clients would be my entire career. I said, awesome. I'm 20 something. I'm going to buy a Ferrari. I'm going to be rich. I'm young. I'm dumb. This is going to be awesome. And he gave me a phone book. The Yellow Pages. Like some of your viewers, listeners aren't old enough to remember what that is.
There was such thing as a Yellow Pages.
So I made 300 cold calls a day, interrupting strangers, asking for money, getting hung up on, which was not very much fun. I Fast forward a little bit, I found legendary marketing guru Dan Kennedy, 22-time best-selling author, highest paid marketing consultant on the planet. I begged my wife, who went to high school with you, to borrow more than our mortgage to go hire Dan and change my life.
Wow.
After day 31, power of persistence, she said, you better pray this beep works. It did. There were 6,700 advisors at that firm. I was 6,700. I was last place.
Wow.
And in 2 years of working with Dan, I was in the top 30 nationwide for opening new accounts, competing against guys who had been building their practice, their client base, like twice as long as I had even been alive.
Wow.
And who is this whippersnapper? This was all before the internet. This is all based on print ads and direct mail.
Oh my God.
My phone got me written about a bunch of trade journals, a couple best-selling books. My phone started ringing with advisors going, how do I do it? I said, Dan, what do I do? Dan said, start a marketing company and do it for him. So that was 13 years ago when I started marketdominationllc.com. It started out as me and one advisor I was willing to let license my stuff. It has taken off over the last 13 years. We've served almost 3,000 clients in 62 different industries in every time zone, literally on the planet.
Wow.
We have an awesome team of 35 people who work here. And you alluded to some of the highlights along the way in my bio. And so that was under 6 minutes.
Wow. Nice job.
Thank you.
So, I mean, a lot of what I'm hearing in there is you, from the beginning, you were creative. You saw when there was a problem, you wanted to fix it. I mean, there was a generosity too, or a sense of like, I don't want people to have to go through some of the problems I've gone through.
Correct. And that's why I now own 3 companies now, four now. And all of them were created because I had a problem in some form or another, solved that problem, and then realized there was a much bigger marketplace than just me that also wanted the exact same solution. So I started a company to help them.
Awesome. Awesome.
So whether it was the stress of paying for college, or whether it was the stress of growing a practice for a financial advisor, or growing a business for various different types of marketplaces, all of those led to, hey, there's a bigger market here. We should start a company and help more people do the same thing.
I mean, and having my own business, I know, right, that looking for or knowing somebody's problem and being able to solve a problem, right, is a really important part of business. But I also feel like I'm curious about the personal piece for you, because it seems like there's also a generosity in that. You know, I feel your business acumen, but also your heart, you know, as I've gotten to know you a little bit. And so I'm curious for, you know, again, for listeners who are on the path of success, wanting more success, how do you see that?
I think success is, one of the lessons I've had to learn is success is a moving target. And I used to get frustrated because I would think, hey, once I just get to this level, aren't I good now? Can I coast for a while and just become happy and not push? And the answer is no. Tony Robbins says, if you're green, you grow. If you're ripe, you rot. And you can't ever just stay. So even if you hit your goal, you need another one right after it, because the minute you stop pushing, you start dropping. So I think first off, there's defining what that success is, and that comes in various areas of life. My dad had what I will affectionately refer to as a midlife crisis when I was studying for my bar mitzvah. And decided to go to law school while working a full-time job as the editor of our city's newspaper. Went to law school and became a lawyer, and then decided he was smart and didn't quit his full-time job, but was going to build a law practice on the side. It wasn't called a side hustle back then. He was going to build this until it was successful enough that he could quit being the editor of our city's newspaper. So during some of those years, he was working 80 plus hours a week. I mean, was not around very much, you know, home on the weekends, and then had to study for the bar or whatever. So out of that, I had decided that whatever I ended up doing, I wanted to be home for dinner. I wanted to be very involved with the kids. And we have 3. as we're recording this, they are 13, 11, and 7. And I am chief soccer dad for our son. I am theater dad for my daughter who took after me in terms of musical theater. Yep. And my wife's in charge of dance for the 7-year-old. But I go drive to every practice, every recital, every show, run lines, practice. And then we have a full-size goalie net that my wife can't stand in the front yard because it's an eyesore. So it's not like a little one, like it's big, he's 13, so it's a big net. It's a real soccer net. So success to me is, sure, it's financial, but it's also the personal relationship with my wife and being a super involved dad with my kids.
Yeah. And how do you do it all? Because that's a lot to do. Run 4 companies, have a wife. I mean, right, parenting is its own thing. Having a relationship is its own thing. Like, how do you make time for it all?
So Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank told me, I asked her how she balanced it because she got a lot busier than me. And she said balance is BS, boundaries rule. And she said there's no such thing as balance. And her solution was she has a work cell phone and a personal one. And as soon as she leaves the office, she physically turns the work one off. And no one from work has the other number or the other, like, so literally no one can get her.
Interesting.
And she said, literally nobody's going to die.
Not in a pandemic. Well, right. That's actually, pretty amazing to be able to have that boundary and recognize like nobody is going to die.
Unless you're a surgeon and you're on call or some type of doctor. I mean, we had marketing emergencies over the last 13 years? Sure. But had they waited till it took me a little while to know I got to be available. Yeah. But nobody was going to die because the website didn't work or because there was a bad review on social media or because somebody posted something. That was never going to be no one was going to, were they unfortunate? Were the people upset when something happened? Sure. But in perspective, especially given that we're recording this during the COVID pandemic, people have hopefully learned at least a little bit what small stuff really is and not to sweat it as much when there are people who could be, dying.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine that there's a shift. Tell me if this is true. Imagine there's a shift you made from like, I have to be available all the time and that's what people need from me to what? I'm wondering what it is because people do need you and they need to trust you and they need to feel, like you're going to do the job. So what did you start prioritizing or focusing on then?
Okay. So that's a great question. So first I had to fire myself from servicing clients because I thought I had to touch everybody. Mm-hmm. So I had to build systems that told our team members what to do for every client every day and make sure they do it. And so I didn't have to manage the process.
Got it.
And I had to hire managers to run those systems. So I didn't have to run the system. And I've almost fired myself, but people like you keep sucking me back in. And then I've gotten close. And then once I was out mostly of service, there's still stuff I pitch in on. There's still stuff they want me to jump on the call. Yeah. Give us your insight on X, Y, and Z. But I've deleted. For a while, I had deleted my Outlook, my email account from my laptop. I had deleted it from my phone on purpose so I couldn't get email. So people would be like, hey, I'm on the West Coast. It's only 4:00 here. How come you aren't answering? And the next day I'd be like, well, it was 7:00 and I physically have no access to email, so I can't.
Yes.
And unless you call, I'm not going to get it. And as people a lot of people just would say, oh, well, I don't need to bother you then. An email's okay to bother you, but I'm not physically going to call you. And I was like, well, then obviously the email can wait too.
Yes.
So it was, I didn't get too much pushback. I really didn't, as people just kind of just sort of respected it and said, oh, good for you. Or when I would get sucked in, I would get an email back from a client complaining like, hey, why are you texting me while you're sitting watching your son play soccer? You should not be doing that. Go enjoy the game. And
they got on board with your values.
Yes. So you'd be surprised what people will agree to if you only ask.
Yeah. If you only ask, and there's a way, I don't know, in my relating with you, there is that boldness that I see you have where the boldness, the boundaries, and also there's something else that I'm trying to put my finger on, but it's like it's not a charm necessarily, But maybe
You'll
it
get me
is
in
just
trouble
that
with
sense of
Rebecca.
like, what did you say?
I said, you say that, you'll get me in trouble with Rebecca.
Yeah, but there's this sense of, I don't know, maybe it's like that you see things as possible that
Yes.
I might not necessarily yet see as possible.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I had this conversation with one of our team members yesterday, and because she's an account rep for this particular client, and that client had a call with her, and at the end of it, she had unwittingly, unknowingly caused that client to completely doubt everything we were doing and freak out.
Wow.
And then he was on a call with me, and I had to talk him off the ledge.
Uh-huh.
And he was saying all these negative things, and I was like, none of that is true. I'm like, where did you get, you're 2 weeks in, where did you get any of that? Oh, well, she didn't sound too confident, or she gave this example. And I was like, well, first of all, she misspoke. And that example was, it was supposed to be 3 appointments a week generated, not 3 appointments a month. Oh, that makes me feel better. And I'll talk to her about, and I had to teach her, even though she isn't in sales,
Yeah.
any communication is a transference of emotion.
Yes.
And if I
That's
am having
gold.
a bad day, and you don't really want to do this, do you, Shana? You're going to be like, no, I don't. Oh my God, that's terrible. But so my passion, my confidence, my excitement, my boldness, whatever you want to label it,
Yep.
has to get you to join me. Otherwise, I'm going to default and join you wherever you are. And that may not be the best place for you to be. And it's part of my job as a marketer to get you out of whatever place you're in and get you to the promised land.
Right. Well, and I see that extending way beyond marketing, right?
Yes.
Any role that you have, if you're not a leader, you become a follower.
By default. Right. I have to excite my wife about that I'm going to grill steak for dinner, or I have to excite the kids about Max going, I played 6 games of soccer in 2 days. I don't want to, I did a tournament. I did 2. I don't want to, I know they're calling me to sub for another team, but I don't want to go. And I have to convince him on what a great opportunity this is. And the more exposure he gets, the better for, blah, blah, blah.
Wow. I'm seeing again, like the world's opening up around that, being a leader, not only for the business realm, but for our children, for our partners, right? Everywhere from the boardroom to the bedroom to the beyond.
That'd be a good title for a book if it isn't already.
It's funny. I've been wanting to write that book for a long time, but then everyone's had really negative reactions to that.
Are you kidding? I don't know if you know, I own a publishing company. I will publish.
You would publish it? All right.
Absolutely. I want to be the first reader.
Woo! My first book is going to come out soon.
There you go.
I mean, it's going to take a little while, but
yeah, you might have to write it first.
But again, you holding that possibility, right? Other people, I think when people sit in that sense of doubt, or I don't know if this is going to happen, or getting stuck in the how is this going to happen, it drags us down.
You can't worry about the how, because you'll get caught up in it. You'll get caught up in the details, and then you'll get bogged down. I think the why is the most important factor. If you've got you have this message that you want to get out, and a book happens to be a really good form for that message. Yeah. If you focus on the why you want to communicate that message to those people, the rest you will either figure out, or you will have other people help you figure out because they believe in your message too.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And there's something in there too around that reminder of like, the more we are in touch with our why, and the more we're inspired about something, the more we create inspiration in other people. And then they want to actually join. They want to help. They want to serve.
Yeah, I think inspiration, I can't remember if it's Greek or Latin, but the original root is to bring out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So there's some useless trivia for you.
It just reminded me of seeing you on a Facebook Live where you stood on your desk and were matching your socks to the.
It was a magic trick, and yes, I injured myself because I didn't think it through, because I stood on a chair with wheels and it did not stay still.
I loved at the end where you realized, like, I could have just put my foot on the desk instead of standing on the chair to try to show people my socks.
Yes, it was a magic. For those of you watching who have no clue what we're talking about, there was a magic trick. I am also a professional magician. That's how I got into marketing. And
that's how you got into marketing?
Yes, because when I was searching for a solution to avoiding cold calling in my financial planning practice, which I hated.
Like, magic will do the trick.
No. I was reading a magic magazine, a trade journal for magicians. Yeah. And there was a full-page ad for a marketing course for magicians. And the ad said, make an executive level income working part-time as a magician. and I was 22
Yeah.
and cold calling and had no money. I borrowed the $400 or $500 for the course from my parents.
Yeah.
I said, give me this as my Hanukkah, birthday, and any other present for the entire year in one. You don't have to buy me anything else.
Yeah.
Got the course, exploded my magic business, became one of the busiest, most expensive magicians in Western New York. And then said, I used a phone call with the guy who wrote the course. And I said, would this work in my financial planning practice, my real job? He said, yes. I said, where'd you learn it? And he said, Dan Kennedy. And that sent me down the rabbit hole.
Oh my God. How amazing.
Yes. So that live that you mentioned where I hurt myself because I did not think it through was because I started out as a magician.
And it was really endearing, right? Like as I watched.
That's great. I say I hurt myself for you and you found it endearing.
But I did, you know, it
Dana, where were you 20 years ago to tell me that when I was dating, to say just hurt yourself on camera and girls will like it? I mean, seriously.
Exactly right. I mean, it built trust. It had me feel like, oh, you're human. You know, you're not just like a marketing robot.
I've never been called a robot, but thanks. I suppose I've been called worse, but I'll take it.
I'm sure worse.
Hey, now, you're not supposed to agree with that.
What do you want men who are listening to know? Like, what feels important if we ended the show without you saying it?
You can do it. It'll be okay. This too will pass. Don't put, I mean, how many cliches can I fit in?
Yeah.
Don't fit all your eggs in one basket. Don't cash the check and don't spend the money mentally or physically until the check clears your bank account. Always get it in writing. There's 5 or 6.
There's definitely 5 or 6. Which one of those would you say is most important to you?
Well, they all come out of painful lessons. So most important, I wish I had started hiring sooner. And I wish I had built systems to deliver our services over the years from the very beginning, because I didn't figure that out until just a couple of years ago. We would have had a much bigger, less stressful business had I done it from day one.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though you didn't necessarily need them from day one, you would have been thinking ahead to what you would need in the future.
Yeah, you always need them, even if you don't think you do. I mean, God, I managed the first project on Post-it notes to myself.
Right.
It was terrible. I lost Post-it notes and forgot things. Like, had I had a system even then, obviously, it would have been even better. So I wish I had become a systems junkie, for lack of a better word, from day one, as opposed to only focusing on becoming the best marketer I could. I didn't start thinking about how to run a company and manage and lead a team until just a few years ago.
Yeah, that's big, right? To have that mindset of, this is what the company is going to look like in 5-10 years. This is my vision. And so now I'm actually working as that or growing toward that.
Yeah, I did not have a vision for a long time. It was just, we need more money, more clients, more people. Let's just get more and more and more, as opposed to figuring out the how part.
Awesome. Anything else that you want people to know before we wrap up?
Sure. Well, we arranged a very special offer for Man Alive listeners and viewers. So if they will go to marketdominationllc.com, they will see a very cool sizzle reel, which they should, of course, watch. Next to that is a form for them to fill out, which will take them to jump on my calendar for a 15-minute marketing consultation. You have to own a business or be a sales professional of some type in order for this to be valuable to you.
Okay, so sales professional or business, either way.
Or entrepreneur, business owner, yes. There has to be a business involved. And then we'll jump on a Zoom call for 15 minutes and talk about what their number one challenge or opportunity or problem is. And I guarantee you I can give them a way to solve it in 15 minutes.
Guarantee. Okay, I just want to note this. So definitely take Seth up on this, and you guarantee that, what did you say? You will help them solve their
problem. I can figure out a way to solve whatever that challenge or problem is in 15 minutes.
Okay, so where does that confidence come from?
Doing it a whole lot.
Yeah.
And knowing that there are, I would say every challenge, opportunity, or problem falls into a very small, no matter how many versions of it there are, they fall into the same types of categories. And I know what the solutions to most of those are because I've either lived through them or solved them for our clients.
Awesome. And for someone who hasn't necessarily lived through as much or solved as many problems as you have, what would you say to, what helps to actually build that confidence?
repetition is the mother of skill. Figuring out a solution to whatever the problem is, either in your business or for your clients or in your personal life, and then practicing it over and over and over again and getting better and better and better at it.
Yeah.
Like in my marriage, let's see, we've been married for 15 years and my wife still tells me, how come you don't know how to handle me yet? Or how come you don't know the right thing to say in that situation?
That's where you need me.
Right. But I will say, oh, I do know the right thing to say. I just chose not to say it because I was in an unresourceful emotional state, or I didn't care.
Yeah.
Or I wanted to be right as opposed to being in love. So
you're actually owning your choice.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally a choice. Even if I don't think I'm thinking it, I know I thought it.
Yes. Right.
So
and even if you don't
I have
recognize
improved in the last 15 years, and I've gotten better, and those statements of how come you're not saying the right thing are fewer than they used to be 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody's perfect.
No, nobody's perfect. And I love that sense of even not making a choice is a choice.
It's so funny. We were going to a place, Anderson's, for which you will remember.
Ice cream. Yes. Every time I go to Buffalo, I go to Anderson's.
So we were going there the other day with the kids after Ella's show, musical.
Yeah.
And we got in some stupid argument about something. I don't even remember, even though it was a couple days ago. And Max, our 13-year-old, is becoming very, very too smart and observant. And he's like, you guys have stupid fights, right? None of them are like really serious. I'm like, well, you should be happy that your parents don't have anything serious to fight about.
Right.
But I forget what I was doing wrong, but he's like, Dad, you're literally making it worse, right? That's
he
dumb.
He schooled you. Wow.
Yeah, he did.
Which is from your own lessons.
And the first time I was like, I know it, I don't care. I'm annoyed at your mother and I don't care right now. And then like the second or third time I was like, okay, fine.
Okay.
I will be in love and not try and be right this time. And I will walk away for 2 minutes and come back and apologize. And so
good.
That.
It's so good, that range of, all right, I can be confident, I can be clear, I can lead. And also, I'm a vulnerable human being who can be humble and admit that I'm imperfect.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, very imperfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this and for sharing your wisdom and your success. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and chat with you and share with your listeners and viewers. And if they want to talk, marketdominationllc.com is the best way to get us.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad you joined us for today's episode of Man Alive. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and it gave you something to consider and explore in your life. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful for you to subscribe and write a quick review that helps men like you find us. And again, head over to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz or text the word ALIVE, ALIVE, to 44144 to get a sense of how you can become a better lover and leader. You'll start to see how you can be both more respected and desired in your unique and genuine way. If you don't feel as confident or as excited about life or love as you'd like to be, this quiz is a really great starting point and will guide you toward a more passionate love life and a more inspiring and successful career. So again, text ALIVE, ALIVE, to 44144 or head over to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz. Join us each week for a new episode of Man Alive.